Hello and welcome to the latest Capital and Kayfabe. I am your co-host, JP John Posh, with the two-man power trip, of course. Joining me is the political pundit, the former campaign manager, the author, the journalist, Mr. Jack Hunter. Jack, welcome in. How you doing?
Hey, it's great to be with you today. Lots going on in the news and professional wrestling.
Man, it's crazy out there, literally crazy. But I want to first talk about the Elimination Chamber, just because everyone seems to be talking about Danhausen, whether I didn't know who this guy was, or I didn't like the debut, or what did you think about Danhausen? Just because they pumped it up to a point
Yeah,
with the crate and who's in the box, and they were kind of, although jokingly, bring it up at times. So, what did you think about not only Elimination Chamber, but first Danhausen?
I liked the presentation. I liked the whole thing with the crate and all that kind of stuff. I thought it was befitting. And I was excited because I know who Danhausen is. I knew who he was before. I remember when he was just in Ring of Honor before there was an AEW, in his shtick, and I've always loved it. When I saw people like, oh, the debut was a complete failure, the people booed. I'm like, oh, you're idiots. There are a couple thousand people in this audience of what was it, like 19,000 people?
Yep.
So there were a minority, but I think a sizable minority who knew who Danhausen was and were excited like I was. And there was a larger majority that didn't know who this guy was because they just watched WWE. You know what I mean? And that's just a given. If you have this big buildup and then it's like a guy you've never heard of, you're going to boo that. And then on what he was on Monday Night Raw and said, he came out to thunderous applause to Adam Pearce. And, that now he's over the thing he did with cursing Dominic and all that. Like it took exactly one WWE show after Elimination Chamber for everybody to be like, this guy's awesome. I think his shirt's like the top merch seller right now at WWE.
Whoa, I didn't even realize that. I was kind of wondering because it seems like those, like Iguana, remember he sold a bunch of those toys and stuff. You knew they were crazy expensive. So it seems like that's right up WWE alley to kind of promote that. And then all of a sudden people think it's funny or they like it or, like it gets over real quick with that audience.
Absolutely. Yeah. It did not surprise me one bit that it took exactly one backstage vignette with Adam Pearce and Dominic and Judgment Day for him to be over because he's funny. I mean, this is endless pop. Somebody somewhere said, imagine like Brock Lesnar coming across Danhausen. Like, what is that? Was it he laugh at him? He beat his ass? I don't know. But there's just so many possibilities, Mr. Iguana. I think it was reported somewhere that they plan to use him on Raw, SmackDown, and AAA, that they've kind of said that, which all makes sense. So, yeah, no, I'm more excited to watch WWE's product, and I already like their product with Danhausen on it.
The thing with me, it's not my like type of humor or whatever. I never got into it, but not like against him. I just was never into that like Sven Gulli or old school comedy or whatever he's up to. I didn't get it, but I did think him and Dominic was good because he curses him, and then Dominic loses the Intercontinental title. So it's like, whoa, does it actually work? Does he actually curse people?
And that's coming up again. And he began his conversation with Pierce by saying, he got great applause at Elimination Chamber, and here's his list of demands. He wants the pointing picture with Triple H, which he got, and he wants his picture on the side of all WWE trucks. I don't know. That is funny, and I've always liked how he would change like the names around and just. I don't know. I'm a big fan of his. I think for all the naysayers on the debut that got proven wrong the very next day or 2 days later or whatever.
I feel like it was an interesting thing because I think, and I could be wrong in this, that the people in the crowd were hoping it was Jericho. So I think maybe that played a factor into it, or maybe not Jericho, somebody else big, but I feel like they thought it was Jericho.
Yeah, and maybe if that's what you're expecting, and here comes out a vampire clown looking dude that you don't know who he is, you're going to be disappointed. If I didn't know who he was, I'd be like, what the hell is this? The first time I saw Bad Bunny, and he'd sold like 10 gazillion, downloads or whatever, and I was like, I don't know who this is. And then you see him for a little while, and I actually like what he did in wrestling. But when you don't know, your first impression is what the hell is this? So,
yep. And the thing is too with Danhausen, I don't think he's supposed to be a serious character whatsoever. Right. So if people are kind of expecting like a guy who can wrestle and work and stuff, I think you're mistaken because it's more of a comedy character than anything else.
He barely wrestled in AEW, and that's fine. He's fine in the ring, but that's not what it's about. Should he tag team with R-Truth? Absolutely, all day long. Should he have a match with Mr. Iguana? Sure, but it's really not about that. And even the two things I just said are not about having a Will Ospreay style match. It's about funny. So
I got to be honest. I don't even know if I've ever seen him wrestle that wasn't like a comedy match where he was putting a spell on somebody and then breaking their eyes. Or I don't even know if I can see if he could even like work, like work a WWE style match or whatever. But
He can work. The WWE style might be a different question, but I don't anticipate him wrestling much. He's 35, so he's relatively young, by today's standard.
Yep.
Expecting wrestling, so you can go a long way with him for a long time. He's a guy, if he stuck around till he's 50 doing comedy bits, that people could say they grew up with, So we'll see.
I wonder just what Triple H really thinks about him, because it seemed like he was pumping him up a bit, but I'm just curious, like what he thinks of like the ceiling is. Like, is it just like an R-Truth, Santino Marella? They need the comedy character. I'm just kind of curious where it can go.
I am too, and I wouldn't be surprised if a reporter asked him that the next time he sits down in front of some reporters after WrestleMania. I guess that's the big thing coming up next, obviously. I don't know his personal opinion. I do think, when Triple H was asked about CM Punk coming in, because that was controversial, he's like, people talk about him. And he was right. In other words, he's going to make us some money. It was the translational in there. And I think, at a bare minimum, he knows that Danhausen's kind of created this mini empire on his own with his branding, the Danhausen brand, that why wouldn't you use that for WWE? And that's what they're doing.
Yeah, but remember what Roman Reigns said to Punk. We, meaning we, WWE, we thought you'd come in and sell out a house in, in Chicago, sell a few T-shirts. We don't trust you. You're a liar. Like, I love that. That's such a great back and forth between those guys. For the second time, I've loved them going back and forth. Great stuff.
I thought it was good. People are concentrating on the very heelish line of CM Punk about burying Roman next to his father, which is the secret of the Wild Samoans. That was definitely a heel thing. I didn't expect it. I don't know that I like it, but we're talking about it, which is the whole point. These wrestlers get permission before they say something like that, behind the scenes. But what you just said, it was heelish as hell for Roman to talk about we like he's part of the office and it's a corporate thing and he's part of it. That's people power level stuff. I don't know, corporate champion, people's champion, corporate champion, all that kind of stuff. So you got two guys who are baby faces and that people like them, get excited and cheer them, but they're both doing some heelish things. And maybe that's what their program looks like until Mania.
And a lot of people were saying, is that a little too much kind of insider stuff from those two? I don't know. I like it. I think that's perfectly fine saying stuff like that because they're trying to get under each other's skin.
Yeah, and damn critics, like, if none of it was insider, people would be like, they need to be more real. That would be a criticism. And then just, not that. They'd say the opposite. I thought it was fine. Those both know how to talk really well, cut great promos, and we saw that from them. If that's the kind of promos we get from here until Mania, I'll be a happy boy.
Now, Punk obviously beats Finn Balor at the Elimination Chamber. Love that freaking entrance. The Ray, first of all, bringing Ray Clay back to do the Chicago Bulls serious Alan Parsons Project entrance was awesome. I mean, obviously we knew he wasn't going to lose, but that was just awesome. A nice little topper, typical awesome WWE entrance type stuff.
I loved it. I thought it was cool. That song is so iconic, and doing it there in Chicago and Michael Jordan and all that. And it was cool to do that right before Cult of Personality hit. So I don't know who's going over at Mania. Part of me wants to say that Cody's getting his belt back from Orton, and I think it's going to be one-on-one. I see people saying it's going to be 3 or 4 way. And I think Roman might beat Punk. I don't know. What do you think?
That's an interesting thing. I would think Roman wins because I heard that he's got more dates, so now he'll be around more. So I would think Roman would win. I would think Roman would win because I think it's going to be, and the rumor is Roman Rock next year in Saudi, and that they're going to give Rock like $20 million to wrestle. So that's kind of, and maybe he shouldn't lose this year if he's going to face Rock next year. Just my thought. And then I don't know, Cody Orton to me would be the match to make. That would be awesome. To me, I would love it.
Do you think Cody, if it's that, gets his belt back? Is that where they're going?
Well, Cody's fighting Drew this Friday for the title.
Yeah,
so Cody could be going into the match as champion.
So I'm getting ahead of myself. As we're speaking here on SmackDown, there's the rematch between Cody and Drew. I think Cody wins that. It's some kind of schnoz, like they called it in the Bret Hart documentary. And they do Cody, Drew, Jacob Fatu, and who am I leaving out here? Orton, that's right. Okay. They do something like that, but I don't know. Give me your opinion. Do you want to see a 4-way as the main event of WrestleMania, even though it's for the world title?
No, I want Cody versus Orton 1-on-1, and then to to bring up their whole backstory together.
That's
He
what I
was
want.
basically his mentor, legit in front of the camera and behind the scenes. He was his mentor. He was basically a rookie when he came in, and Orton was his guy. They did Legacy together, and then they feuded. They had that triple threat match years ago at WrestleMania between Orton, Cody, and DiBiase, which was pretty
Yeah.
good. So I don't know. I feel like bring all that stuff up, but then give Orton like a little bit of an edge because he did trick Cody at the Elimination Chamber to win the match. So they should give him more of an edge, and maybe even bring back the punt kick, which would be crazy because that's his buddy. Like, he would do that to his buddy, but he should bring it back.
There's a lot to work with there, and both of those guys people want to cheer. They're baby faces. You could do. There's a lot of meat on the bone there. They could both be baby faces going into this, but still trash talk each other. Cody could be like, "I've been champion most recently. I'm the face of the company now," and Orton could be like, "I've had that belt a lot more than you have." Stuff like that. And they're both right.
And Orton wants that 15th title.
Wants that 15, and yeah, I want to see Cody versus Orton. I think that's a strong main event for WrestleMania, and they need one, and it's fresh. And Punk and Roman is fresh. There's 2 fresh main event WrestleMania with main event players for the world title. I think that's pretty solid. We'll see what they do.
What about Seth Rollins? Seth freaking Rollins. Did you like that return? I like just the fact that people were literally upset that, the Max Man was a nobody. Like, do they really think that was going to be the end game? Like, come on. And then if the little teasers, those guys trained with Rollins at his wrestling school. So that was a nice little tease in there to kind of show you, like, if you're really paying attention, like, wow, they were showing you who it was without telling you.
You learning later that it was students at Seth Rollins' school was cool. Nobody expected to see it with Seth Rollins. My understanding is he's not completely cleared. He's cleared to do what you see him doing right now, but he can't have like a match. Is that right? Was that what you've heard?
Yes, but by Mania that he'll be more than ready is the rumor.
Right. And with Bronson Reed out after Braun Breaker being out, you got to have the Vision something to do. This is perfect. Yep. They come back earlier than maybe they might have expected. So no, I thought it was great. I like that you had sort of 2 guys that nobody knew in masks before you got to Seth Rollins, and it was him. People didn't know for sure when it was he got the pop that we knew he'd get.
The funny thing, like, about that is, like, we kind of knew it was Seth, but then they're kind of teasing you and throwing you some stuff to make it not seem like it's him. So I thought it was well done, and the pop he got kind of shows, like, okay, it was well done because people were into it. So I don't know. I thought that was good, and obviously it's either Seth versus Logan Paul, or if Braun Breaker can make it back, I think it'll be him versus Seth. But then I heard another rumor that since Seth took out Heyman, Lesnar's going to be pissed. So. Could be Seth Lesnar, though I'm not necessarily interested. I kind of want a different matchup for Lesnar. I don't know who against who, maybe LA Knight or something, but I don't want Seth Rollins versus Lesnar, to be honest, for me, but could be.
I want Obafemi to beat Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania.
Yeah, it should be, because the fans, they were saying, who's he going to face? They're literally going, Oba.
Right.
They're telling you, yeah.
This is a no-brainer. And I said that from the first time I saw Obafemi. I'm like, that guy needs to beat Brock Lesnar on the main roster. He needs to be like the first thing he does, and it hasn't been, but it's be pretty close. And just the guy's already over, but that cements it. And nothing hurts Brock Lesnar. It's not like, oh man, Brock Lesnar, you can't believe in him as an ass kicker anymore because he got no. Nobody thinks that. So
I just think that if you make it somebody else and it's not Oba, I feel like the crowd might crap on it because they were chanting for Oba,
Even if it was like Gunther or something, which people want to see, I think they just want Oba, and that's good. Gunther's a heel. That's good too. He's doing his job.
Gunther Lesnar would be awesome. I'd sign up for that.
I'd want to watch it. I just think it's Oba's time right now. It feels like it. I know he's brand new, but like he's over. People are doing the walk when he comes out and all that stuff. He's just an uber baby face of the type you would think, going back to Vince McMahon, like, look at this guy. That's a wrestler. That's a WWE superstar. He's got everything. Of course, I thought that about Karrion Kross too, but he's not working for him anymore.
Yeah. So obviously we have the woman stuff too. AJ Lee wins. Then we have Rhea Ripley. AJ wins the IC title. Rhea Ripley wins the Elimination Chamber. So it's interesting that they do this thing with Rhea. Then her and Jade start going back and forth online. Is it work? Is it a shoot? She's breaking the fourth wall. She's writing tweets and deleting them and everything else. What did you think about that? Because they're trying to, I think, make it more interesting. Maybe it's a work. Maybe it's a shoot. Maybe that's the interest.
I think it's all a work. This is just my opinion. I think it's all a work, and they're making us thinking it's a shoot, and that's part of the work. And thank you. That's what I want as a wrestling fan. I want myself to wonder, like, man, is she really pissed off at her? You know, that's what you want to do. If they were like, we're both professionals and we're top notch wrestlers, let's have a good match. Nobody wants to see that.
Yeah,
So
true.
what they're doing is great. They're getting personal. It's great. Their body builds. People thought, the first time you saw Jade, oh, her and Rhea, you have those thoughts. I think Rhea beats Jade at Mania because she hasn't had the world title for a second, and she is not only the top women's star in all of wrestling, she's one of the top stars in wrestling, period, in WWE. And I think it's time for her to have that belt again. You got any thoughts on that?
She's the most over woman. She looks like $1 million. Jade looks like $1 million too, but I just think Rhea is more over. I think it's her time. They kind of had her doing like meddling stuff, like, oh, tag title, all this stuff. Then when Mania comes around, they give her the ball again. It's like, just give her the ball the whole year, because she is literally more over than most of the guys.
Yes, and I like the stuff with Io Sky. I like them being tag champs. I loved every bit of that. I like Io Sky. I think she's been elevated last year. Like, this has been her year. But yeah, Rhea is, the old school thinking is that the baby faces chase the heels with the titles. Well, Hulk Hogan kind of changed that. He had the title all the time, right? Rhea is that. She's female Hulk Hogan. She is that. So give her the title.
It looks good on the poster, as Sullivan loved to say. It looks good. You know what I mean? Like those two on a poster, like, whoa, these two obviously physically impressive females.
And it's just the package deal. If you saw Hulk Hogan on a magazine cover with the WWF title, and you're like, that's the WWF, that's their champion, that's the championship. I like that product. It's like the whole package. Rhea can be that, and has been that in the past, but should be for a long time.
I think they're trying to catch that lightning in a bottle with Stratton and Charlotte that got so much pub last year when they were talking trash, like, oh, your boyfriend's in my DMs, where it kind of obviously did go off script. I think they're trying to catch that lightning in a bottle again with Rhea and Jade, and try to just really, make people more interested in the feud right off the bat.
Yeah, I think they're trying to replicate that, and they should try to replicate that. People talked about that match, and it worked. And, I just feel sorry for Tiffany Stratton. She had that breakup that Charlotte kind of jabbed at her at, because we haven't seen Ludwig Kaiser since. I don't know if he was let go from WWE, but, I don't know where he's at. But, God bless him.
I feel like he still might be around somewhere. Somehow, somewhere, he might still be around.
Yeah, in the back. I don't know.
He's doing something. So I like the Chamber. I know some people said it was too predictable or something, stuff like that. But I thought it was a little unpredictable at the end with Orton, because everyone thought Cody was winning that one.
I liked it. I thought Cody was just going to win it, and that's what they were doing. But when Orton won it, I'm like, all right, this is cool. No part of me was mad at that. I wanted to see that. And then when Nick Aldis came out pissed off, screaming that Cody was getting his rematch against Drew on SmackDown, I'm like, oh, this is way more interesting than Cody just winning the Chamber. So I thought it was great booking. I don't think it was predictable, because I didn't expect Randy to win.
Same here.
I expected Rhea to win, but if she didn't, I'd been like, that was stupid. She needed to win this.
Yeah, like, who's she going to wrestle WrestleMania? She should be for the title. Yeah, exactly.
Right. Sometimes if it's what makes sense and what's going to make everybody happy is good. Unpredictable is good when it works. If the booking doesn't work, but that's the old Vince Russo thing, right? You surprise everybody, but where are you going to go from there? That was always a problem a lot of the time. So, yeah, I thought it was a solid show.
That's like WrestleMania main events. We're like, oh, Hogan, it's obvious he's going to win, or Austin, it's obvious he's going to win. Well, goddamn it, he should win. It's the time for the big pop. Like, let's go here. Like, and obviously they win.
Could you imagine Hogan Andre at WrestleMania 3 if it went the other way with that crowd? Like, that would have put a lot of damage on WWF at the time. Those fans would have turned irate. They came to see that. That's what they expected. That's what you get. There's nothing wrong with that.
Even last year, Cena beating Cody, that was so stupid. Like, Cody should win. I know he just turned heel, but without Rock there, and it's just Travis Scott, like, guys, call an audible, give the guy that should win the win, and then you can go back once you figure out what the hell you're doing with this heel Cena thing. Like, that was that was horribly booked. But yeah, that's a different story for a different day, but terrible.
I agree. And giving the people what they want, like, it's always been a pet peeve of mine for years. If you go see a big band and they don't play their biggest song because they're tired of it or think whatever, I'm like, dude, you're lucky to have a hit and have all these people here buying a ticket. Play the damn song. Do your job. That's always been my attitude about it. I don't care if you hate this song. Somebody else is out there, being a plumber or digging ditches or something. That's how they're making a living. You're standing on stage as a star. Shut up and play the song.
Yeah, so, I totally agree. I hate when they try to be too cutesy with it. Like, come on, play the hits. That's why we're here.
Yeah. When I go see Tom Kiefer of Cinderella, the singer, because I like all the hairband stuff, I've seen him, I don't know, half a dozen times at this point. But the last couple times, He'll play some song you don't know. The next two songs are Save Me, Somebody Save Me, and Shake Me, which are two of my favorite hits from Night Songs, their first album. What he's saying is, here you go. Here's the hits. I'm giving them to you. And then he gets the Nobody's Fool and all that later. But you get it all. But right up front, you get two big ones. And I'm like, that's pretty cool. It's unexpected.
That's the way you got to do it. Yeah, that's the way you got to do it.
Be at the end of the set. It's not.
I like the strategy there. That's the way. That's the way it should be done.
Yeah, that's cool. Hats off to him.
All right, changing gears here. Controversy, big time. Hilarious conspiracy theory, or is it? Look at this picture. Is this Jim Carrey or is this not? Have you seen this rumor out there?
No.
Oh, you haven't? Oh, this was Jim Carrey at the France Film Festival or whatever. It's on the one side where he looks like he has Botox or whatever, and then which is 2026. The other one is from 2006. Jim Carrey. Doesn't he look strange?
So the one on the right is now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he looks like he's had some work done, but the thing about celebrities doing this, do they still look like what they look like? Like my dad, it was for his eyesight. It wasn't to look pretty or anything. We had to get some slight cosmetic surgery, and he just told the doctor, "Don't make me look like Kenny Rogers." Because remember when Kenny Rogers did that, he didn't look like Kenny Rogers anymore.
Yep.
Or like Madonna, whatever that mess looks. She does not look like Madonna anymore. This still looks like Jim Carrey, but he does look like he got some work done. I don't even know that he looks bad. He just looks slightly different. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, I think so, big time. But so many people were saying it's not him. What was the other one? Oh, he's a robot. He's a clone. Like a million different things. Like that it's not Jim Carrey. Are you? You're not in that boat, I guess. You just think it's him with Botox.
I think it's him with work done or Botox or whatever. And, you know, if you're a rich dude, that's what you want to do. I think we're all just going to get old and let it happen. And it is what it is. Like Madonna would look way better if she didn't get any work done, just like whatever age she is Madonna than whatever she did to the face.
I agree.
So I was thinking this the other night, you know, the folk singer Emmylou Harris.
Mm-hmm.
You're talking about, who I've always thought was beautiful. I think she's 75, 80 years old and she's beautiful. She don't look like she's 25. She shouldn't because she's the age she is, but she's a beautiful woman. If you see what I'm saying, you can age with grace or not. But like this obsession with just trying to look younger all the time, I think is kind of unhealthy.
Just thought that was so funny. I was like, what? He does look a lot different, but it does look like he had some sort of cosmetic surgery or whatever to make himself look younger.
Coming up with Lawler and just wanted to go for a different look.
Yeah, maybe. But you know, he said so many things about the Illuminati and, you know, like Hollywood and stuff. So people were like fearful that maybe they did something to him because he talks too much or he said too much. And stuff like
we're
that.
in an age where Bill Maher's monologue a week or two ago was apologizing to all the QAnon Pizzagate conspiracy theorists. He's like, you were right. I don't know how you get redemption for this, but talking about the Epstein Files.
Yeah.
They use up pizza and all that, but we're in a time where like stuff that I used to would dismiss, I think twice about it. I'm not saying I buy into all of it, but elites are doing some weird things. The Epstein Files is a big part of that, and that pizza thing had some validity to it.
Crazy too, because obviously the Clintons are testifying with the Jeffrey Epstein stuff now, and they're talking about that. But Hillary goes, "Oh, and that baseless, crazy Pizzagate thing. Has she been following what's going on?" It's basically, and they said it's basically was true. And so, like, obviously, she was a big part of that too. So, is she not paying attention? Like, I don't know, almost like tone deaf in a certain way.
She could be completely ignorant of it and willfully so because of who she is in her position, or she could know all about it and lying through her teeth. I was talking to somebody the other night, you know, when Melinda Gates found out what Bill Gates was doing on that island and with Jeffrey Epstein, she left his ass. Like, she's gone. She's been asked in interviews about, she's like, you go talk to him. I think he should be, you know, held accountable on everything. Hillary Clinton didn't go anywhere. She didn't go anywhere after Monica Lewinsky. She didn't get, you know what I mean? Like, she's a woman who likes power. I think their marriage, Bill and Hillary Clinton, is a power couple. But I think he kind of does his thing and she does her thing, but they're still technically married in the Clintons. I think that's all she cares about. So she would lie to maintain that.
Yeah, it just seems like kind of like obvious, like that she's, I don't know, maybe lying on that one, but just to me it seems like wow, she's pretending that all this stuff didn't come out. Is she pretending she's not reading it? Is she pretending that she's not keeping up with it? Because it's kind of all been out there, and then they're asking her questions and being very dismissive and snapping sometimes at some of the questions.
It's a tactic with the Gaza debate. We can talk about, as we're talking, we're at war with Iran right now. We even talked about that. But like with the Gaza thing, I'll talk to somebody. I'll be like, this is the UN numbers on how many civilian deaths, including women and children, happened. And it's astronomical. That's a genocide. They're like, there's no genocide going on there. There's no killing. I'm like, dude, there's stuff going on over there. People just point blank, like Hillary and Pizzagate. We're like, no, that didn't happen.
Yeah. Crazy.
That's their tactic. How do you argue with that? It's all right.
But did you see Bill and the way Bill was? He was the complete opposite. I know some of the questions he was a little evasive, but he's literally saying, "Oh, the Rothschilds. Yes, I know them. Yes, I know this." You know, he's like admitting to a lot of it. They were showing him pictures, and he was like looking back at it as if it was like nostalgic. Like if you looked at his face, like kind of like strange reactions from him, but a lot more honesty. It seemed like from Bill.
And that's how he always operated. Why he was such a more likable candidate in '92 than his wife ever was. He has those retail political tools. You know, the stereotypical kissing babies and shaking hands. All that stuff.
Yes.
That's how he behaved in that testimony. You know, like, oh shucks, here I am, old Bill Clinton. Oh, I remember that. Like, that's how he operates, and it's worked for him for most of his career.
Is he still friends with Trump? Because he basically says in that deposition, Trump had nothing to do with it. I have no knowledge of Trump doing anything. He had no part of any of this. So he's kind of like defending Trump, which people were not covering. And obviously some sorts of the media that love Clinton were like pissed at him. So they weren't going to cover that. But I thought that was really interesting. Are they friends or something?
I thought that was interesting. And I don't know how to answer your question directly from the Bill Clinton side. But Trump said recently when Bill Clinton had to testify, he's like, oh, I hate this happening to Bill Clinton. I've always liked Bill Clinton. That's what Donald Trump said. It's like, so you hate Thomas Massey and you love Bill Clinton? He said the same thing about Hillary. Like, oh, I hate that she's having to go through all this. It's like, so lock her up. We've forgotten about that. And she's great now, but you want to throw the book at Thomas Massey? You know, like, come on. So.
Yeah, that is interesting, though. I know Hillary, obviously, and him always kind of butted heads, but him and Bill always seem to be complimentary of each other, it seems.
They were all friends. You can see pictures of them at dinner and hanging out at receptions and stuff like that because they're all rich people. You know, he does know the Rothschilds and all these people. That's what they do. But Epstein knew everybody. Joe Rogan said recently that a friend of his was trying to get Joe to Epstein's Island a couple of years ago. And Joe Rogan's like, I ain't messing with that dude. He wanted nothing to do with him. And that Epstein said, this isn't one of the Epstein files or an email Joe Rogan saw. Epstein was lamenting the fact that Joe Rogan was a little he said he was too prissy, basically. That like whatever Jeffrey Epstein had going on, that Joe Rogan was scared of it. He goes, I didn't expect that from Joe Rogan. I thought he'd be down with what we were doing, basically, kind of thing. That's what Joe Rogan said.
Damn. Creepy dude. That Epstein. And they're obviously releasing more and more stuff, more files. I know Bill Gates, they want him next.
Yeah. They're supposed to be releasing more files. They're pulling back files, the DOJ a little bit.
Yes, I saw that as well. They seem like they removed some files.
Yeah, it's a big tug of war. And I really like the fact that Thomas Massey, on the night that Trump announced the U.S.-Iran war, Massey tweeted out, bombing a country on the other side of the world is not going to make the Epstein files go away. And he was right to say it when he said it.
Hopefully they're not going to do any more distractions. You know what I mean? Like, hopefully nothing closer to home either. Knowing these,
it doesn't get much bigger than a war. I am worried, and I'm not the only person to worry about this. You had that incident in Austin, Texas, with the guy running around, mad about Iran, killing people.
Yep, from Senegal. Yep.
Yeah, 9/11 didn't come out of nothing. After 9/11, a lot of us thought like shopping malls everywhere would be under constant threat, and it didn't really look like that. But like, terrorism is the tool of the week. If you're mad about what's going on in Gaza or what's going on in Iran, I'm worried about myself and my fellow Americans here in this country.
Yeah, so is it another war? Is that what we're going for here? Or what the heck's going on over there? Why do we do this?
So it is a war. Trump calls it a war. Pete Hegseth calls it a war. Marco Rubio calls it a war. Most other Republicans, including Lindsey Graham, call it a conflict, a kinetic action, a strategic airstrike. Mike Johnson said, we didn't declare war. This isn't a war. Iran declared war on us. So my mind goes to, hey, in September, didn't Trump rename the Department of Defense to the Department of War?
Yes.
And part of that was wanting to be honest about what that department actually does. And part of that was under a president who had promised no new wars, right? That department is being used to wage something in Iran right now. It looks a lot like a war. You know, we never called Vietnam a war either. It was a police action. Ask any Vietnam veteran if they thought they were in a war, because I know the answer, and I don't want to speak for them, but I am. It was a war. Ask Americans' opinion in December of 1941 when Japan bombed Pearl Harbor. Was that a strategic airstrike, or did most Americans think we were at war? You see what I'm getting at. We're at a damn war with Iran that Trump started for no good reason at the service of Israel, and that 6 servicemen have already died. While we're talking, I'm sure it'll be more after that, and none of them should for a cause we shouldn't be involved in. That has nothing to do with our national interest whatsoever.
Man, crazy. And obviously they killed the Supreme Leader Khomeini over there. So he is dead. And then they killed the next, who was going to be next in line, correct?
Right. And there's going to be another one after that. And the people that they killed, Khomeini is now a martyr. You know, oh, that's great. You know, like the U.S. is just doing itself no favors. I mean, what does Netanyahu have on Trump? Like, what are we talking about here? Why is he doing this? This is exactly the kind of thing he said he wasn't going to do when he campaigned. And now this is Lindsey Graham's foreign policy. This is Mark Levin's foreign policy. It's the opposite of what Trump promised to do. But
yeah, Mark Levin loving this right now. I haven't seen.
Oh yeah. Oh my God. This is Megyn Kelly said that she thinks this isn't cussing. Megyn Kelly said in an interview, I think she said it to Marjorie Taylor Greene. She said, "Excuse my French, but Mark Levin and Lindsey Graham been walking around with a heart on all week." That's what she said.
Boy,
I think that's accurate. We know what she means.
Man, it's just I don't know. It could be dangerous for maybe even wrestling related Saudi next year for WrestleMania 43.
So the American embassy in Riyadh was getting attacked by Iran. Does WWE have a WrestleMania in a Saudi Arabia where that's kind of stuff's going on? We don't know what it looks like by the spring of 2027, but it's not good.
They were just in Riyadh,
right? Right. So it's not good. We knew Iran. Tucker Carlson screamed about this before this war started. We knew that they would attack, the American embassies in different countries and the countries in the region that are allies of ours. They would attack them. They've done every bit of that. And for what?
What a shame. It's craziness going on out there. Now, there's so much craziness going on here, whether it's California with the fraud, Minnesota with the fraud. Finally, Tim Walz is out there. Nancy Mace, I was watching. She's great. Love me some Nancy. She was ripping Tim Walz like a new one. So funny. I was like, oh my God. His answers are just awful. Like, he comes off so poorly. Somebody needs to prep him before he does this, right? I mean, geez.
I mean, that's the same guy you saw ran as VP for Kamala. Yeah, I mean, come on.
Like, and she said, "Thank God you're not VP." And he's like, "Oh, excuse me." Blah, blah. He got all.
He was a bumbling idiot. Then I still think it's funny that Democratic operatives tapped Waltz because they thought he would appeal to working class blue collar men. Do you remember that?
Oh my God, yes, hilarious.
I thought he was like a folksy guy that would no, he's the opposite of that. No man wants to be that.
Tampon Tim.
Right. Because of the tampon machines in the men's room in Minnesota or whatever he did there.
Yeah.
Nancy, full disclosure, Nancy's an old friend. I think she might be the next governor here in South Carolina, but she's in Congress right now. And she, I think, heroically was one of the people who got the Epstein Files thing signed into law by Congress, and then Trump signed it, a couple of weeks ago. The Trump administration went to her and Lord Boebert and tried to convince them not to get behind that, but they defied the administration and did it. So that was a big part of that. And you've seen Thomas Massey and Democrat Ro Khanna thank them repeatedly for being a part of that effort.
Wow, I thought she was younger. I didn't 48. Wow, she looks great. I thought she was younger than that. Okay.
Yeah, she's just a couple years younger than me. But and no politician's perfect. The things she does that I like and things that might do. But she on the Epstein Files and some other things, I think she's definitely done well.
So getting away from the political world, I wanted to bring this up just because I don't know. I feel like AEW is having some success lately. I've been actually liking the shows more lately because no offense, I know you love Adam Page, but I do not. When he was champion, I was like kind of down the shows. It doesn't necessarily matter who's champion and like with the shows, but to me, sometimes I think it does matter because when MJF is champ and the world revolves around him, I just think the show is way better. I don't know. Call me crazy, but I've been liking, even I have been catching some of Collision too when he makes his pop-in appearances, does promos and stuff, or he's promoting a match for the next week. I like this match with Brody King, although I think Brody kind of dropped the ball there, but I like that match. I don't know. I think the world of AEW is better with MJF as champion, and that's probably why he's champion again.
Yeah, I can both like the idea of Hangman being champion before and again, and also agree with you that the company seems to be in best shape and the most interesting when multiple people are gunning for MJF, which is kind of what's going on, right? And everybody should want the world title. Like, that's normal. I am curious with this stipulation. I don't see them repeating the thing when Cody, said he'd never challenge for the world title again and didn't. That was not good. I think Hangman might win. What do you think?
I was thinking with this MJF title run, how could you take the title off of him right now? In my mind, I'm like, he can't lose. But then it's like, wow, Paige is never going to and Paige, 30 years old? He's never going to go for the title again. Like, that seems crazy too.
Before that stipulation, I would have said MJF's definitely winning. It didn't feel like it was time for Hangman to win.
Yep.
But with that, is that them kind of reversing the Cody thing, like doing the exact same stip, but like, hey, no, and it could be a short title run. MJF could beat him and fight Will Ospreay down the line in England or something. I don't know. I don't know how they get around that, or does the stip there and something comes along in 6 months where he can get around it? I don't know. It's professional wrestling. You can do whatever, but it's a stacked show, Revolution. So we'll see.
Yeah, there was a mistake with Cody, and like, they're going to make that mistake twice, really? Like, so that does kind of make you think, like, with the stakes that are out there, wow, could MJF lose the title already?
Right. And MJF's kind of like Flair. Like, Flair had the title almost all the time, and everybody was chasing him. Whether it was Magnum or Dusty or Ricky Morton for a little bit, or whatever it was. That's what MJF is in his era, and he's a top. MJF, like Flair, is a top heel that you can boo the hell out of and does heel stuff, but is also so good at it. He's got a big positive fan base too. It's both.
Yeah, he's the cool heel. That's for sure with MJF. I liked him versus Kevin Knight. Did you like him versus Knight from Dynamite?
I loved it. It did what it needed. Nobody thought that Kevin Knight was going to be the new AEW World Champion. What they thought was we're going to see a good match. It was going to elevate Knight, and that's exactly what they did. I was entertained as hell by it. I thought it was great.
I did see some people complaining that it's too easy to get a title shot in AEW. Just call the guy out, the guy agrees, and there's a title shot. But on the other side of the spectrum, I do like more title defenses on television. Not necessarily, it's unpredictable, that factor, because I knew MJF was going to win. I just like it because he's like a fighting champion. He's a good heel. You're kind of thinking, how is he going to sneak his way out of this one? Like, that kind of stuff. Like, I find it more interesting. Like, I like him defending the title more.
I like him doing that as well because he's so good in the ring, and you forget about that because he's so good at the talking and just being a jerk. I like them doing it on TV. I also think, when we were kids, the TV title, the whole thing was where you got to go to the arena and buy a ticket to see a real title change or go to the pay-per-view. But this TV title can be defended on TV. There was a novel like, is Tully going to lose on? We don't live in that age anymore. I mean, AEW doesn't even do house shows. The biggest revenue stream are the TV rights, and then whatever they make on pay-per-views. I don't think pay-per-views supersede TV rights. So if that's your just as big as when you do pay-per-views, why wouldn't you have big title changes on your TV sometimes? That makes sense to me.
Yeah.
A different business model than the old days. So, and I'm glad that they do it.
Plus, it makes it more must-see. You have to watch.
More must-see. And I feel like AEW is kind of getting hot again, or has been for a little bit. I think they're doing well.
The only thing that is weird to me is they keep running smaller venues for Dynamite. I feel like they could possibly pack in some more. Like, I know they did 2,500. Like, I feel like they could go into bigger venues. I know maybe not like when they first started, when they're doing 14,000.
Yeah.
But I feel like 2,500, I think you're past that. I know you're running 2 shows a week, but still, you could do more.
Well, for that El Paso Dynamite that we saw last night, as of this recording, that was 3,300 people. I don't know the demographics of El Paso. I think it's a city of some size or whatever, but that's a solid AEW crowd. Was it sold out? I don't know. Maybe it was.
I believe they sold all the tickets they had. I know that's always a sticking point. Like, is it really sold out because the venue's bigger? But I feel like whatever tickets you release, you sell those out. That's a sellout. That's me. But I know some people will beg to differ on that one.
I think it is too, if that's what you plan for. But I don't know, John. I like them being in smaller venues where there's 3,000 people as opposed to being in a 20,000 seater where there's 3,000 people. And you pretty much just said the same thing.
Yeah.
But are there 5,000 or 6,000 seaters out there that might serve them better? I don't know how many of those there are. So probably.
Yeah, I guess Yeah, I guess it depends on where they're going or what they're doing. But I just feel like when they're like, "Oh, we sold out Denver 2,500," it's like, wow, I feel like Denver. That's like a hot crowd. You probably could have got a bigger venue.
Yeah, that place in Baltimore where they used to run Old Ring of Honor and AEW's ran, it used to be called the UBC Center, right outside of Baltimore. That's the size I think you and I are thinking about. What's that? Probably 8,000, 10,000, something like
right
that.
in that range. Yep.
Yeah, and it's near Baltimore. You got Jimmy's Famous Seafood over there. I'd be curious to see if they ran that, how many tickets they sold. They used to run it.
Are you a big fan of Jimmy's Seafood just as far as their social media presence?
Yes, and I'm a fan of their food. I've been there a couple times.
Oh, you have? I've never been, and I love like that type of food. I love seafood and stuff. I got to get there.
It's very good. They got wrestling stuff all over the walls. I saw a 2-man stage thing with Jim Ross and Jim Cornette years ago there.
Oh man, I regret not going to that one. That's awesome. Yeah.
When Conrad threw a birthday party for Tony Schiavone at Starrcast before Full Gear 2019, I was there for that. And MJF went and sat at the table with Conrad and Tony Schiavone and acted like this is when he was trying to pretend to be a babyface for a little bit. And like they were totally annoyed with him. As the table next to us, they were totally annoyed with MJF, but he was like, "Oh yeah, you guys are my friends. I love you. Cody's my best friend. But you guys are my friends." So it was a whole scene for Tony and Tony Schiavone's wife, Lo. He didn't expect that and got a little teary-eyed. It was pretty great. But that all took place at Jimmy's Famous Seafood.
Got to give them a shout out because I love their social media stuff. Go F yourself, they love saying.
Yeah, totally. And it's kind of out, it's not in Baltimore proper, I wouldn't say. It's kind of like outside in kind of an industrial area. There's plenty of parking. And once you get inside, wrestling and seafood. So it's pretty great.
Yeah, I got to get there because that just sounds like the greatest combination of all time for me anyway, because I love wrestling and I love seafood. So
totally.
And I love crab. So that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, and I guess the wrestlers when they're in Baltimore, even if Jimmy's not doing some kind of promotion or something, they hit that spot, kind of like Ribeiro's in Japan.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. So we were mentioning the Cody Rhodes thing about the title. He couldn't win it anymore. That's the stipulation with Adam Page and MJF. Are they going to do that again? Interestingly enough, I was just listening to Chris Van Fleet's interview with MJF, and he was saying that him and Cody still keep in touch, and he thanks Cody and he credits him for the success in his career. So I was shocked. The big heel here is giving Cody some credit.
Yeah. No, and I mean, Cody's even said they're not heels, but like he was like, I talk and text with the Young Bucks and all that. I mean, he talks to all these people.
But I wasn't expecting that from MJF just because I thought he would like joke around and say, "Oh, Cody, I beat his ass. I ended his run." Like, say something, but he's like, no, he's like still talking to our buddies. I get advice from him all the time. Like he was really cool. He said that he thanks Cody and Tony Khan for like helping him the most.
That's not the first time MJF's done that when he's asked about WWE or something. I remember he was at some fan Q&A. This has been 2-3 years ago, and some fan asked about WWE or something. He goes, you fans seem to think that like the guys in my company hate the people in WWE and they hate the people in TNA and all. He goes, we're all friends in the same business. A lot of us know each other. He goes, I love LA Knight. That's what he said at the time.
Yeah.
That's when he was getting hot.
Yep.
But putting a positive on it, like stop it basically. But that's not what a heel will do. He will do what you just said. I beat Cody's ass and LA Knight sucks and whatever. So, and
he loves Becky Lynch.
Yeah, he said anybody that doesn't like her, I forgot what he called him, but wasn't something good.
Yes.
So he was in a movie with her with the
Happy Gilmore.
Yeah.
Happy Gilmore 2, actually, with Adam Sandler. Yep.
Yeah, I want to see him do more movies. He was Lance Von Erich for a hot second in Iron Claws. MJF was.
Yep, true. That is true. Yeah, he did another movie too. I don't remember what it was, but yeah, he's done a couple. But he needs to do more for sure.
I'm dying. I want to see this CM Punk vampire dirty cop movie. It wasn't in the theaters in our area, but it's not ready for streaming yet, I don't think. But I want to see it. Night Patrol.
Nice. I'm going to be looking out for that now. Nice.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, let's wrap this bad boy up. Let's head towards the plugs. You follow me on Twitter and Instagram at 2Man Power Trip. How about you, Jack?
You can find me at JackHunter74 on X for all my nonsense.
Thank you, Jack. Thank you, everybody out there for listening. See you right back here next week for Capital and Kayfabe. See you next